Thank you for joining us here today, Commissioner Hogan. It's been almost a year since our last Brexit interview with you in Brussels, at a time when the Brexit vote was really just being digested. Can you tell us, in your view, has the progress on Brexit since that time exceeded or met or fallen short of your hopes and expectations?
Well, I suppose a lot of people on the European Union side are very frustrated at the lack of movement by the negotiators on the UK side in terms of the first phase of those negotiations on the financial settlement, on citizens' rights and on the Irish border question. So we hope that we'll be able to move along now, because Prime Minister May has made a very significant speech in Florence, where she's indicated that there is going to be a transition agreement, that there is going to be movement in relation to the areas that are part of the essential first phase of the negotiations, so that we can build on that momentum now in next week's negotiations to have a UK-EU future relationship where we can work closely together.
And with regard to US developments in the last year, how do you think the EU-US relationship has evolved in the context of Brexit and wider trade issues?
The business community and indeed employers and employees work very closely together in the United States and EU, and there's a lot of activity economically between both blocs that go on irrespective of how relationships are at a political level about an overall trade agreement between the United States and Europe. There's been an 11% increase in agricultural, food and drink trade with the United States from the European Union, for example, last year. So even though there is not a formal arrangement between the United States and European Union, there's a lot of activity in so many sectors going on, and this is creating jobs for the United States company in Europe and a lot of jobs for European companies in the United States.
The EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, has said that what I see in the UK paper on Ireland and Northern Ireland worries me. Do you think it is contradictory coming from the UK that it says it wants a frictionless border in Ireland, whilst at the same time leaving the customs union and the single market?
Yeah, we have some contradictions in the statements from the UK side at the moment, where they're saying in good faith that they want to see a frictionless border, in other words, to continue as we are. But at the same time, they want to go out of the customs union and the single market. Those are contradictory and irreconcilable policy positions. So we have to see in the negotiations if Prime Minister May is prepared to move on those issues and at least stay in the customs union. This would make a big difference for the relationship between the EU and the UK, but also to help enormously to continue as we are on the border question between the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland.
And with regard to the pace of the negotiations, what do you think will really need to happen now to move that on?
Well, I welcome that Prime Minister May has decided to give some indication of what she sees as the future relationship between the UK and the EU, and this was missing up to now. So we are, it seems, from the UK side, going to have a transition agreement up to 2022. I hope that we will now get some more detail on the financial settlement and the clearance of accounts, which is part of the first phase of negotiations. And she's also indicated a significant amount of actions that she intends to take in relation to the border question between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland.
And regarding the terms of the possible future trading relationship between the EU and the UK, do you think that ultimately the UK may remain within the customs union?
I hope they do, and I've said this for the last year. That is irreconcilable and contradictory to have a policy statement that wants to continue a good relationship with the European Union and trade, that wishes to continue to have a frictionless border between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland and come out of the customs union. So this would be a major change in policy up to now of the British government. But they are in a minority government. There are going to be significant amendments to the legislation on the Great Repeal Bill in the next few weeks in the House of Commons, which will be interesting. And I'm sure there will be amendments put down by the opposition. And some of them may get a majority. And if they do, I think one of them that will generate a lot of debate will be the one about staying in the customs union. So it is the position of the Irish government, and also my personal position, that I would like to see the UK staying in the customs union.
Thank you, Commissioner Hogan, for sharing your insights with us and for being here today.
You're welcome.